Good morning and welcome back to another video. So it's been more or less 2 weeks that I've been on the farm and we've just started developing a little routine. In the morning, first thing, I get some water, I put the gas on, I make a cup of coffee and we take a slow walk to the gate, just up the pathway to the gate, me and the dogs. And that is our early morning walkies. Sure, it's got nothing on the Qashqai Park with the chickens and the ducks and the turtles and the peacocks and whatnot, but you know, this is our new routine. So in the morning, first thing, grab my cup of coffee, take my cup of coffee, walk the dogs up to the gate. They go on a little safari and then we head on back, we get our water from the well, so I've got to switch the well on the way back to the house, and then put our water into the containers, our washing up water. This is not water for drinking, so it's just washing up water. It's my shower water. I prepare my shower, I fill the water into the little solar shower, I then leave it in the sun so that I can come out and do the work that I need to do for the morning. And then when I'm ready and it's a little bit warmer, hopefully because that water from the well is really crisp, great on a hot day, not so amazing when it's a little bit cooler outside like today. And then hopefully the water heats up a little bit so that when I'm done with my work I can go and have a nice rinse down, a nice shower, and then we all have breakfast. So yeah, our days have been starting really early, around 6 a.m. in the morning, sometimes earlier if it's going to be a really hot day. We've got to get the work done before the sun really starts coming out, because it gets really hot. From about 11 onwards you can't do anything on a hot summer's day. Thankfully that heat wave has ended now and we've had some cooler days, but still from 11 onwards it can get really hot. So I've got to try and get the most of my work done in the morning and then do inside work for the rest of the day if I can.
Hello and welcome. I'm Christine, an expat originally from South Africa. I moved to Portugal in October of 21. This is my adventure as a solo expat on a farm in Central Portugal with my 2 fur kids, Shakti and Shiva. I've never owned or lived on a farm, but I moved to Portugal in the hope of fulfilling a lifelong dream. Now that we have found our farm, the second stage of our journey begins. I have to figure out farm life while renovating an agricultural structure to make it habitable and turn it into a comfortable home for me and my fur kids. Follow along our journey. This is Girl Meets Farm.
I have so many projects to finish. I've started little by little on almost everything, and I've gotten to the point where I'm starting to feel a little bit overwhelmed with all the little things that I still have to finish off. So I'm just going to do it little by little because there's just so much I want to do, and I know it's going to be little by little as I get time, but I just want to get it all done. But I know I have to learn patience. So what I'm going to be doing this morning is, when the trimming was done, there's piles of wood absolutely everywhere and old wood lying just in the middle of the rows. So when the guy was doing the trimming of this section, he very kindly piled it all up for me. So there's mixtures of tiny twigs that were from old olive tree cuttings, there's mixes of vine, pieces of vine, of old vine. The poles I'll keep to reuse for something else, but I've brought my little wheelbarrow, my first piece of equipment, to come and collect everything. And then I'm going to be, especially the wood, I'm going to be storing with my firewood so that we can use this, because this is great burning for fires. Things I've learned so far, especially with the vines, besides knowing that I have to take all these stray guys and start lining them up just to give them something to hold on to. And this is difficult filming with one hand holding a camera. So usually you just wrap it around so it can start literally climbing the vine. What I've also learned is there's old vine, and obviously these haven't been trimmed, so those of you that do know vineyards probably already know this, and you're going to notice this as I walk around. But sometimes there are also, let me find one, volunteer vines. Now these are just springing up by themselves. They're volunteering literally from maybe a piece that was there or cutting or whatever it is. But from what I've learned so far from the guy that was trimming is that you don't necessarily want to use this. So this is something that you can trim out, because it takes a while for these guys to actually produce really good grapes. So the grapes could be really bitter when they're so young, because they're not coming off an original stem like the rest of these guys. So you can either leave it and let it grow for a couple of years and then turn into, you know, a proper vine, but otherwise it is good to trim these guys out. And there's also, let me see if I can find one of those. There's also old stumps like this one and this one that just hasn't grown again, and they're probably dead. So what you do with this is you can, and this one is probably not going to come out, but you can wiggle it, take it out, and then put it back into the firewood. So my plan for today is to just go around where I can and see if I can remove any of the little stumps, or at least just to collect all the piles of wood, branches and stumps that have been left for me in the aisles. Because why I need to do this, and I won't be able to get there, is because in some of the sections that I haven't been able to trim, there are these big wood piles that just have been left there, well, little branches that have just been left there, so I obviously can't trim in between that. So I need to collect it all so that I can finish some of these little heaps that I've left down the perimeter, and then we can move on to the next thing. I managed to gather the majority of the stumps and some other branches that were lying, mostly in the top section. Of course they're in piles, because I know my winter self will thank me for having different size pieces, and I don't have a saw just yet to make anything a little bit smaller, but reckoned I could use a lot of the smaller pieces for kindling, and some of the bigger branches are still left on the top section, and of course I must still trim the lower half, and then we'll probably get a little bit more. But this is really not a lot. It's more than I expected there to be, but I'll probably use this in less than a week. But it's a good start for winter, and it's my own, it's free. I thought I might also quickly show you an update on the farm. So a quick farm tour to show you the fruit trees and how things have developed over the last couple of weeks. So these are just the vines by the well, trellised for shade. But look how these guys are coming along. They're looking really, really good. The peaches have been amazing, and I have picked quite a few of them, but there are some more ready for the picking. They have been incredibly sweet. There are 2 peach trees, and they've produced quite a number of peaches. Let's take you to the apples. The apple trees coming along. Not sure if this is going to come up on camera. There we can see the apples are looking of good size actually. They're really getting there. The figs are of good size. Let's try and show you that. So I googled how you know when a fig is ripe, and either they change color. These, I have seen some of them go to a darker purple color, but the birds seem to be getting into them first. Otherwise, the moment they are no longer perpendicular to the stem, this one isn't ready yet because it's not very soft, then apparently you can start picking them. but there are many. So I'm going to be making lots of preserves. I have bought a pot already to do this, and as you guys know, I have five fig trees. So I think this is going to be quite amazing. Some of them are beasts. The two pear trees are carrying beautifully. Some of them are developing really nicely. They're still small, but growing really nicely. And this tree, both the trees actually are carrying, oh, I actually have three. Sorry, I thought I had two. There's a baby one over there. They are carrying so much fruit. It's so heavy that it hangs all the way down and I have to drive around it because else the top of my car gets hit. The new baby trees, we've got rid of that leaf curl on old shriveled up guy, which was that one. Some of the others did develop a bit of leaf curl, but if you pull the leaves off, it apparently just goes away. Also, I was told by the farmer who was here the other day. The little guys are coming along. This one, I think, is nectarines. Plums or nectarines, I'm not 100% sure. They're starting to get some color. Oh, there's a couple that are actually red. Looking very good. Still maybe a week or so to go on that. This I think is also a peach tree, but it's not actually carrying anything. I'll probably need to look into why. And the rest of these guys aren't carrying any fruit just yet. Oh, I see this one has developed some. That's good. So this is also, I guess, nectarines or plums. Another fig tree carrying. Oh, this one is very soft. And this, I think, is another little apple tree. But she is not carrying for, I guess, a couple of more years. This is the section of vines that I still need to do the cleaning in, as you can tell, and making things neat and tidy. But some have developed more than others. There's some that are quite big, some that are still growing, and I guess maybe that is just a difference in the varietals. The table grapes are looking amazing. Those, I imagine, are the ones on the trellises everywhere. And apparently these will be ready to harvest in October, or just past October. As for the rest of the veg, these are the potatoes, and the potatoes are potatoing. As you can see, there are some starting to peek out, and I'm sure the farmer is going to be very happy about that, because they're obviously still coming to collect their potatoes, and they do collect some of the other veg as it is ready. I told him that they were most welcome. He was actually here in the week to come and stake the tomato plants. I mean, I was not expecting any of this, but they occasionally just rock up here once a week and they come and work on some of the veg, because obviously, you know, this is what they planted before. These are the tomato plants, so they're looking really, really good. And these are the little pepper plants. They're looking really, really good. Bell peppers. Some of them have started developing the little flowers from which the fruit grows. And let me see if I can find you a tomato. I found one developing just the other day, but It's a little tied up now, so I can't actually find it. But looking incredibly good. I love the smell of tomato plants. I don't know if you ever come across a tomato plant, just touch the leaves and oh, it just smells so herby and amazing. I love that smell. Now, the orange tree is still carrying. That's pretty amazing, but to be quite honest, I still haven't managed to actually get an orange before it ends on the ground and some beastie claims it. I've just picked up this one, which seems unharmed and pretty intact, so I might just cut that up for breakfast this morning. On the top end of the farm, on the upper terrace of the farm, this is kind of what's left over from the onion growth, and I've been watering them, and when the farmer was here in the week, he was like, please stop watering the onions, it's finished now. So he then whacked all of the tops of the onions down like so, and there's still onions in the ground, and apparently we just leave them and eat them as needed. But honestly, I don't actually eat a lot of onions, to be quite frank. And there is so much onions here. Apparently it's quite a staple among the Portuguese. I mean, I know it's not bean season anymore, but they make some kind of bean dish with beans, onions and chorizo. No, I'm not a meat eater. I'm not vegetarian, but I'm not a meat eater, so that's not a dish I would eat. But yeah, so there's quite a bit of onion still in here, and I don't know what to do with all of them. I guess the farmer will be back for some more. And then lastly, the olive trees. They are starting to carry baby olives. I've also learned that this is an almond tree. This is the baby of that one, which is not actually in the property, but lucky me, it drops all its fruit on my side. And I did notice the other day, I don't know if you guys are gonna see this there, I think that is gonna be an almond. An almond nut that will eventually drop. More fig trees up here. The olives, and then the upper terrace vines, which are looking so good. I actually love this section. And one day, maybe what I will do here is, this is a great place to put a yurt or a bell tent, so that when I do have guests over, they can actually stay here in the little olive orchard. I thought that would be so cute. For the time being, maybe in a couple of months' time, I'll get a bench. I'd like to put it underneath this olive tree because it's just behind the orange tree. And then this big old olive gives so much shade, especially in the morning. It looks like, and it is, just such a peaceful part of the farm. And that's where we are. Now we're very nearly at the end of June. Good dogs! After all the rain we've had, there's actually been a little bit of new growth happening between the vines. And it's bringing a touch of green into what has been incredibly dry and yellow grass that was all cut down. It's looking really pretty. Today I'm gonna try and attach all of the loose ends of vines in the cleared section. Just to tidy things up and to help them when they start bearing fruit, that it's not so heavy that they've got something to lean on. I am looking at all the vine trellises, and everywhere where they slack like this, I'm just tightening them up, and any ones that are broken, I'm just fixing and tying back together. And then where the vines want to, I then just wrap them around the trellis so that they've got something to rest on and support the growing weight of the grapes and of the vines. This one I still need to do. I mean, I really don't know what I'm doing, but I'm just doing what I think is logical, tying things up, making them a little bit more weight bearing, and just fixing where I can, and then just tucking the vines as I go along. And things are already looking a lot neater. The sections, I've only done the small section so far, and I'm going to still be doing the rest of the upper section. So this is a whole day's job pretty much, well, a morning's job pretty much. And things are really looking a lot neater, I think. The ones that are still sticking up are not really wanting to volunteer onto the trellis, so I'm going to leave them as they are, and then just probably check on a weekly basis to see if they do want to go. I've also noticed that a lot of the vines have outgrown the trellises they have and possibly need a second row put up because they're just a little bit high, and also some sections don't have any trellising whatsoever. So I'll probably need to get some wire and build some new trellises for them as well. Unfortunately, this process wasn't all roses, because in some places where I tried to tighten the wires are so rusted that they just broke off. And for some places I could reconnect them when I did this, but others are really so far gone that I can't even stretch them enough to connect them back. So I'm going to have to get some new wires, and there's at least 2 trellises so far that I will need to rewire. But there's so many that I need to wire in any case that haven't been wired. There's like big sections that are just open. So I may as well get some new wiring and just redo it. But I think it's already looking better. The little sections that I have done, I'm not sure how much will actually translate on camera, but for some sections I've managed to do it really well and managed to tie them really nicely to the trellis. This section must still be done, and then the ones that I need to fix, unfortunately. So today I focused on this inner yard section a little bit. I've been wanting to neaten things up a little bit. So what I've done is I've raked some of the topsoil, not really topsoil, some of the top loose grasses and dry grasses and debris that's lying here in this inner courtyard for a couple of reasons. One, there's a lot of debris like tiles, bricks, nails and plastic bags and a bunch of other things just lying in the yard. Also, since I've trimmed, there's a lot of loose grass that I haven't managed to clean up just yet. So I've raked them all into little bundles, and I thought what I could do with that is, one, well, it will be a great compost starter, and I must still choose where I'm going to put the compost heap actually, but all of this will be perfect for that compost heap actually. And 2, I really want to start preparing this inner yard a little bit better, because I just want it to be a little bit neater. I want to feel a little bit more homely, and I do want to start rehabilitating this section and turning it into grass. I've done that before, and I'm no expert, but I've done that before in a yard, in a normal house garden scenario, where I've had to really dry grass and dry ground and create new grass and just do that whole process. Previously, Cape Town for a number of years had such a big drought, and I feel we're in a very similar space in Portugal at the moment. It hasn't had a lot of rain. There's been talking of drought restrictions and stuff like that, and that's very reminiscent of what happened in Cape Town about 5 years or so ago now. And that drought lasted about 3, 4 or 5 years. I can't remember. We had to save water. We were showering in buckets, like literally capturing the water from the shower and just reusing all the water. And I feel like we're going to head to similar restrictions here in Portugal, but never mind that. With all this dryness, I do really want to just rehabilitate this section. I've got enough water. I'm not sure how that's going to last through summer, so I think time will tell. But I do want to start cleaning this up, and when you start getting rid of all the debris and the not topsoil, when you start getting rid of all the debris on top of the soil, that's just kind of suffocating the ground underneath. And then you put some seeds down, and hopefully those grass seeds start growing, and hopefully the grasses start overtaking all of the weeds that's here. I am pulling as I'm going. Hopefully we will have a nice little inner courtyard section sometime soon, and I think the dogs will love that, to just have something a little bit more green, and I would love that, to have something a little bit more green close to me and just a little bit more tidy. Every time I pull one of these out the ground, it reminds me a little bit about Alien, the movie with Sigourney Weaver. It really just looks like one of those little beasties. But oddly enough, it is quite nice to pull that out the ground. It is oddly satisfying to pull that out the ground. Finding a perfect spot to create the new compost section has proven to be a little bit more tricky than I thought it was going to be. I knew I didn't want it close to the house because of any potential smells that could arise, because I'm going to have 2 compost heaps. One for waste product, like human waste product, from my dry compost bin, and the second from any food products and stuff like that. Now, this starter heap can be pretty much for either or of those, so doesn't really matter. And I think I may have both at the same place, but I will have them separated. I just need to still pick up pallets or however I'm going to do that separation. But I knew I didn't want to have it too close to the house because, like I said, for the smell, or if I walk past there, or for whatever reason, and you do want it closer to where you're going to be using it. So I thought close to the veggie patch would probably be a good idea. It shouldn't have full sun, but it also shouldn't be under a tree. I'm not sure why. So I potentially thought that this little section here between all of the fruit trees and the veggie section could possibly be a good place to put it. And there's nothing here at the moment. I mean, there's nothing growing here, and I don't really foresee using that space anytime soon because there's more than enough space for all the veg down there. I do also want to put up some beautiful raised beds at some point, just because I find it easier than bending down all the time in a no-dig garden. So I might put up some raised beds, but that I can do anywhere here between any of the fruit trees. So I think this is going to be the spot to put the compost heap. Yeah, I think that already looks like a nice good little starter pile. The previous compost heap was actually here, and you can see loads of bunny drop-ins if you look carefully. You don't even really have to look that carefully, it's pretty much everywhere. But it is literally right next door to the structure, or the start of the structure, the entrance to the courtyard. Now I don't think I want to continue it here because it really is just a little too close for comfort. I think at some point what I'll do is I will level out this ground over here. They used to store some of their wood here as well. So I definitely am going to collect all of this together, put it in some kind of basket or container, because it's great kindling as well. But all of this extra heaped ground here, maybe what I will do is I will just pull that down into what used to be a compost heap over here to level this out. And yeah, I think moving the compost heap to where I've put it, just behind the fig tree over there. It's far enough away from the structure and all the flies and things that it will attract eventually, I guess. And it's close enough to all the plants where I really need to use it. Yeah, I think I'm happy with that decision. Right now it doesn't really feel like I made much of a difference, but I've taken all the loose grass and debris from this whole inner courtyard section. I did some weeding, the alien weeds. I mean, it doesn't feel like I made a big difference. It doesn't feel like it looks very much different to me, but I've taken 3 big wheelbarrows, this is the 3rd one, of dirt, of just debris to the now compost heap. So I know it's definitely gotten rid of quite a bit. And I don't really want to take off too much more because I can actually keep going, but I don't think I will, because I also just don't want this area to become just sand. And if the wind blows and it gets much drier, it's going to be very unpleasant. So I'm going to leave it as is. There is a little bit of rain incoming for later, I hope. There's some clouds. It's been raining for the last 2 days solid. So I hope we get a little bit more rain this afternoon. It will compact some of this dirt for me, and yeah, that'll be a good base to maybe start seeding some grass in as the next phase in the courtyard rehabilitation for now. In the next video, my first big project starts. I finally get some insulation in the roof, and we also prepare some fig preserve.